Is the GEGENPRESS not working for you in FM22? Did you start the season well but then end up crashing and burning? Did all your best players pick up injuries and you couldn't cope with it? If the answer to any of those questions was yes, this is the video for you. I'm going to show you how to make the GEGENPRESS work in Football Manager 2022. Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video on the FM YouTube channel, where today I'm going to be showing you how to get the best out of the GEGENPRESS in this year's Football Manager by showing you what I did in my Liverpool beta save, where we ended up finishing top of the Premier League with 101 points and only one loss by only using the GEGENPRESS tactic. If that video sounds like something you'd enjoy and you want to see more content like it, make sure you do smash the like button on today's video, as well as subscribing to the FM YouTube channel. We're just about to start the second season of our Liverpool beta save with the transfer special coming out tomorrow, so now is a perfect time to tune in. But without any further ado, let's take a look at what I did to make this tactic work, what I did to avoid injuries, to keep the squad fresh, to continue winning games all throughout the year, ignoring the fact that I lost the Champions League Final. But there's no major hiccups in here. There is consistent form left, right and centre, enough to get us through Champions League games, Premier League games, FA Cup games, Carabao Cup games. Yeah, we've done a pretty good job. So let's take a look at the tactic and see what I have done. So this is the tactic that I have been using for the majority of the year. Obviously not with Henderson at cam. Musiala is our cam. Ignore the fact that they're all tired. We have just lost a Champions League final. So, you know, there's still some flaws in the tactic. But overall, it has done very, very well for us indeed. And we have managed to find a way to get this to work for us by just tweaking a couple of things here and there within the GEGENPRESS to actually make it suit our squad. For example, I changed it to low crosses so that we could actually win crosses, because none of our players are too tall in this Liverpool squad. In terms of long kicking, I didn't want them to take short kicks like they normally do in the GEGENPRESS tactic, so I got rid of that, and nothing in here bothered me, so I kept it. So all in all, I haven't really adjusted the GEGENPRESS preset mentality tactical stuff at all, but the roles of players is where I really have tweaked stuff. If you take a look at what you get when you actually do the GEGENPRESS, it's a pretty terrible role. So I've instantly put in a box-to-box midfielder with a deep line playmaker, which is always my go-to, with a central attacking midfielder who's playing on an attacking midfielder role on attack duty, two inside forwards on attack, and an advanced forward with a fullback and a fullback both on support, with ball playing defenders at centre back. And that's because, one, it suits all of my players. None of these roles are unfamiliar to any of the people I've put out there on the pitch, and that helps them actually perform well in the role that I'm giving them. But also because it creates a balance where there's not a lot of contradiction between players. For example, if I had a deep line playmaker and then another deep line playmaker, it's not that necessary to have all of those players trying to look for deep line playmaking balls. But at the same time, if I had an advanced playmaker up here, then the deep line playmaker isn't that useful anymore, because I now have an advanced playmaker who is going to do more playmaking, if you get what I'm saying. So it's important that you don't contradict each other. Everyone has their role in this tactic and everyone does it very well. But I'm not going to lie to you, this is a tactical video, and I'm actually not very good at tactics, boys and girls. So as soon as I set this up, I didn't really change it. So it's more the things that I've done outside of this tactic to actually help us win the league, stay consistent, and actually do well in Football Manager. So, for example, one of the things I did was create a very similar tactic with the exact same roles, exact same suggestions, instructions going on, just with a CDM instead of a cam, and that helped us beat just about every single big team that we came up against. The only time it didn't really work was in this final, which even that I did actually play very well, and we ended up getting a high XG, but unluckily didn't come away with the win. But if you take a look at how I have actually done against big clubs, I think it all comes down to the fact that I have performed well due to using that formation. For example, against Manchester City here, we managed to win 3-0, and that is because we dropped down to the slightly more defensive shape. Having that Musiala in there, still able to attack, but playing in a slightly deeper role, helped us defend well, keep a clean sheet against this side, and still win the game. Again, when we played against Manchester United in the Carabao Cup final, we won 5-2. This time wasn't as good of a defensive performance, and that's because we have used that cam positioning. And it still works for against the big teams, but didn't give us as much defensive solidity, and perhaps on another day we wouldn't have come away with all 3 points in that situation. And it's just whether or not you think it's going to work against the team that you're versing. Away from home is obviously going to be a wee bit more difficult than at home. So switching between those two tactics, which are very similar in their general formation, shape, tactic, mentality thingamajiggy, it helps the students, you reckon, the players stay completely within it and understand what's going on, even when you are switching between two tactics, because they are so similar. It doesn't really make a difference. But one of the main things I've done throughout the year is I've got a good big squad. You know, I've made some transfers to bring in players that have actually helped fit the roles. And if we go to the squad screen and go to squad depth, you can see that I've got some quality players in every single position, and quite a few of them. For example, I've got about 5 people that could do a really good job at striker. I've got about 4 people that could do a really good job at cam. Again, about 4 on the left mid, about 4 on the right mid. So many in central midfield, so many at centre back, even after I have sold Matip and only brought in one other centre back. We've gotten a decent amount of depth at right back, enough that we wouldn't need to worry if Alexander-Arnold picked up too long term of an injury. At left back, I've kept Simicat, and I've got a couple of other players that I know can fill in that role. And at goalkeeper, I mean, to be honest, it could have been covered a wee bit more, but I think we all know we'll be fine in that position. So I did make the transfers with those positions in mind. At the start of the year, I identified the cam as a position that we needed to improve, and I bought in Musiala, and Musiala has been world class for us. Without having him, I don't think we would have done half as well as we did this year. I also brought in Frank Kessie because I noticed that at the midfield spot, we didn't have a whole lot of young depth, even though we have a lot of players in that position. When a player of this quality comes up for £16 million, you're not going to say no. So if a bargain comes along and you've got the money to do it, sign him. If he's going to be a rotation player for you, sign him. Same with Adnan Januzaj. Do you think I went out of my way to try and find a player like Adnan Januzaj? No, but he came up for £4.6 million, and I'm not going to not sign a player for £4.6 million when he has those stats and the ability to play as well as he has for us. He's been a great rotation option. He has been pushing for starting lineup spots from time to time throughout the season, and that's saying something when you've got Salah, Jota, and Mane who was on your bench, and Januzaj is pushing for first team spots. I rotated the squad enough that I knew that these players would be able to do a job because I brought them in for the reason of doing a job when I do rotate the squad. Rotation is key when you are doing these GEGENPRESS sort of formations to make sure you don't overrun your players, don't get them too tired. I also brought in Adeyemi as a striker option. He is 2.5-star current ability, and he played about 29 games for us throughout the season. We have so many games this year, it's just important to rotate it, and as long as you keep a couple of your good players in there, you can afford to bring in a young striker here and there. And you know what? He scored 9 goals, so I think it's ended up being a great performance as well. Again, Callum Chambers, probably not the best signing I've ever made. Bought him in for £10.5 million, not a great right back, not a great centre back, not a great player overall. However, he has fit the role that we needed. He's played in centre back when we need him to. He's played in right back when we need him to, and he's ended up playing 34 games, including appearances off the bench, to make him a really good rotation option. Lautaro Martinez was again just a young player that was pretty cheap that we could sign, so I didn't say no, and that has helped us in the striker position immensely and actually improved our squad a lot. So rotating the squad is something that I have done that helped us stay fresh. If you actually go through to the group stage of the Champions League, for example, this game against Shakhtar, you'll notice straight away, it's just a random game, you will notice straight away that it's almost a completely rotated squad. And I've got Chambers in there, Konate, Van Dijk. I'd say the only starting lineup players in there are Van Dijk and Alisson, maybe Jota, but back then Jota was definitely not a starting player for us, and we still managed to win this game 3-1. That's because the tactic is good, it just doesn't work when your players are tired left, right and centre, and if you have this many games, like you do for a Liverpool squad, then you got to rotate, and you got to make signings that are going to help you rotate. So it's all the things that you do outside of this tactic that actually make it work. So the tactic itself, it's good. It does the job. It wins your football matches, but you have to do things off the field. And I will admit, we did get a lot of injuries this season, and I do actually put that down a lot to luck, because I've simulated with the GEGENPRESS on other saves, and I haven't ever gotten this many injuries, but I do stand strong in saying that because I brought in so many good players, I have such a deep squad, I used my money in effective ways to help cover positions, as I've said multiple times in this video. It wasn't really an issue. In fact, I kind of liked it when players got injured. You know, Thiago wasn't getting into the first team. I don't even know if he was going to make the bench half of the time. So when he got injured, I wasn't that upset about it. Joe Gomez, again, I had Chambers in there, I had Konate, I had Fabinho who can do a role in there, not that bothered. Again, Fabinho, we had Henderson and Kesse playing in centre mid, doing a great job. When he got injured, I was like, well, now he's not going to get upset that he's not playing enough. Sadio Mane got injured, and Jota popped up, and he did a brilliant job for us. We just got unlucky with all the injuries that we got. But if you have good players in there, it's often a good thing. You give a new player a chance to play in that position, see what they can do, keep rotating the squad, and eventually you're going to come away with wins. And I will admit, this all looks fine and dandy for a Liverpool squad that actually has a level of ability. But what if you're a Brighton? What if, you know, you're a West Ham, maybe even a Brentford or a Watford who have been relegated this season? The one thing I would say to you to make this formation, this tactic, this setup work for your football team is to make sure you bring in players. Every single football team and Football Manager has some dead weight, has some players that you don't need. All of these players I sold within the first season, and I managed to rack up some money to bring in some decent players for us. Now, obviously, you're not going to get, you know, Kesse or Musiala when you're down with Brighton and Hove Albion, but you can bring in some decent players for their standard who are going to be able to come in when you need them to help rotate the squad. And if one player isn't playing well, you've got like 3 other options to play in that right wing position. If Trossard isn't playing well up top, bring Mope in, bring Edouard in. Okay, Edouard is not a player you can sign in because he went to Crystal Palace in real life, but you know what I'm saying. Bring in a striker, bring in Adeyemi, do something. Get rid of that dead weight if you don't have any budget. Try and find some players that you could sell for like £15 million. I know that Gross, who plays for Brighton, is not a great player in this game. I don't know if that's how you spell his name. No, it's not. It's let's just search up Brighton. I know that Gross is worth like £10 million. If you get that for him, you can instantly bring in 1 or 2 really decent players who can play in that position very easily. Where is this Gross dude? Oh my goodness. There we go. We found him eventually. Right now he's worth £475,000, so that is really not helping my point. But for example, Danny Welbeck, he's worth £5 million. Get rid of him, bring in a decent youngster. Locadia, not going to play many games, £4 million. Sell him, bring in a decent youngster. Just keep bringing in the young players, keep bringing in a bit of youth, keep bringing in a bit of rotation, and you'll do well to get this formation, get this tactic working for you. So that's how you use the GEGENPRESS in Football Manager this year. This video was so all over the place. I've never recorded a tactical video in my life, so I apologise if it did feel all over the place. But to summarise, I would just like to say, use this tactic, tweak it to suit your team. Adjust the tactics within the instructions of the players to help suit their roles and don't contradict each other. Sign players that you actually need, sign players that are going to rotate the squad, then actually rotate the squad, and keep doing that as long as you can to make sure that all of the players are fully fit for each game. I do not play a player unless they have a full heart, unless it is a real desperate emergency. And that's coming from a team that had to play in the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, the Champions League, and the Premier League. So I don't think with Brighton and Hove Albion, you're realistically going to have that issue. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you do smash the like button. Please subscribe to the Rex FM YouTube channel and tune in to that Liverpool beta save. Let me know down in the comment section below if you've used the GEGENPRESS, how it worked for you, what you would do to improve the tactic, what you think of me, because feedback's always welcome. But once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and I will see you all later.